All right, so I am back from an 8-day vacation in the South Carolina Myrtle Beach area. And while I was gone, or just before I left, I added a misting system to some of the cages here on the rack behind me. So that way it ensured that like the day geckos was really what I was most concerned about. Would have a source of water to drink from, because day geckos will not drink from a water dish. They lap it up off the plants and the glass and things like that. So I really needed something that I could put together while I was gone that would ensure that they stayed hydrated. Feeding wasn't too bad of an issue. You just put a few extra bugs in there, so that way, and of course as planted as these are, even when I put food in there, I'll still see food hours later. So we just add a little bit more food, and they're perfectly fine there. Also put some Pangea diet mix in there, so it wasn't just live insects that they had to rely on. There was other stuff in there, but we had a little bit of an issue. There's the pump there, and so this video, we are going to take a look at how things survived when I was gone, and everything didn't go beautifully smooth, so I'll get into that in the video. There will be some more follow-up videos to come, and while I was on vacation, I did shoot one video. The vacation was about spending time with family and just enjoying life, so we did stop at one place, Alligator Adventure, and so that video will be coming up soon. And then I've got some new build videos coming up soon. I'm also going to be picking up some new caging to build some more, to expand on what I got back here on the wire shelf. Like that there isn't going to stay. But anyways, I'm just rambling. Let's get into the video and see how things... what went on while I was gone. Okay, so let's start off with an update on the baby geckos. While the geckos are doing fine, something that I remembered only after the fact was how badly sandblasted grapevine does not work in a very wet kind of situation that I have going on in here. So we will have to remedy this. We're going to take those pieces out. I have an idea of what we're going to do. And then we'll have to set these pieces out in the sun, just let it dry and get that all cleaned off. And we just won't use grapevine in this type of enclosure. That's not really going to be too much of a difficult fix. We're still going to be good here, but I totally forgot about how bad this grapevine stuff does not handle too much humidity. It's actually more with it in touch with the ground. Had I elevated it to where there was air movement around it, I would not get this mold growth that we're seeing, because as you can see, the rest of the branches are perfectly fine. It is only when it is near or touching the ground that it's wicking up the moisture from the substrate. So yeah, we're just gonna take these out, use them elsewhere, and I already have a solution for what we're going to fix here, but that will be a video all in of itself. This is just simply an update video. Okay, so next we're going to take a look at the legless lizard setup. His setup is doing pretty good. It is a little bit more damp than I anticipated, but overall we're looking pretty good here. I did add a new misty nozzle system, so but we'll get more into that in a future video because it is going to be revamped, but he is looking pretty good. So let's go down here. This cage is empty, so we're going to move over to my green tree python. And while this system was running for a day and a half before we left, and I witnessed it coming on and off probably about 7 or 8 times in those 2 days for about 10 seconds. The one actually is on for 15, the others are for 10 seconds, just enough to give a mist spray into the air. But this nozzle is at the end of the line for all the cages that are connected. And we had a bit of a problem, which I thought might happen, and that is sometimes what happens is you will get a siphon, and I believe that is what happened here. I'm not totally for sure, but his bottom here is flooded. Thankfully he is a tree snake, so I mean honestly it didn't bother him none whatsoever. But we are going to get this cleaned up, and he is actually going to get moved over into the cage beside him, and we got some new plans going on for the cage that he's currently in, of course after we get this all cleaned up. And the final cage that was also connected to the misting system, which is, you can see, has been disconnected. It was connected right here. And if you're familiar with this cage is looking quite a bit different. That's because I had to take out all my cork tubing pieces because I found this upon our return. Let it focus. There we go. So that there is a hatched day gecko egg. So the parents had laid an egg that I did not find, and unfortunately it hatched inside the setup with the parents. And well, there's a reason why I pulled the eggs, and that's because these babies are small enough that when they hatch out, that mom and dad will potentially prey upon them. And I believe that may have been the case here, because I cannot find the little baby, and that was the only eggshell I found, so this was not a double clutch situation. But the other issue that I have is, while I found Dad, which he's down back there, you can see him hiding behind that cork flat, I can't find Mom. I don't know where she's at either. And I checked all these cork tubes, shined a light down in there to make certain. As I was looking for the baby, you know, I was checking quite thoroughly in these tubes, and so not only did I not find the baby, but Mom has seemed to have disappeared. I don't know if perhaps she had escaped maybe while I had the lid open and I was in there looking for the baby. I don't know if she got out. Typically they just run up on the walls, and at nighttime you'll find them right there at the ceiling. But I've looked around, I have not seen her. It's been, by this time this video goes up, it would be a couple days, so I don't know. So this is why I don't like these using the aquariums where I have to reach on the top. That's why I was switching over to these sliding glass fronts, because sometimes what happens is the geckos will hide right here underneath this lip, and I can't see them from this perspective. If there's a gecko on the other side of this trim, I can't see it. Sometimes I'll just get lucky and we'll see like the tip of the tail hanging down. So I don't know if perhaps she was hiding here and I reached in, which spooked her to come out. Typically, I mean, that has happened once before with the male, but I seen and heard him exit the cage. So I don't know if that was the case with Mom. So just have to keep an eye out for her and see if she shows up. Hopefully she will, but this cage is a disaster. Obviously I tore it apart trying to find you know, the potential baby. Can't find it. I'm fairly certain that it probably was eaten by one of its parents. But you know, that is sort of the luck of the draw. You know, when you furnish out a cage with so much lush stuff, you know, sometimes it's going to be hard to find, especially with geckos that lay eggs like that. But you know, there's a lot I'm going to change, and one of the things, here's another thing that we need to remedy is this. Yeah, it collapsed my bottle. I think what happened and why we got so much flood water in that is because once this cap is on, I drilled the hole to put the supply line in. It is a pretty snug fit, and obviously I wasn't only sucking out water, but I was also sucking out air, and we have collapsed the bottle. So probably we're gonna have to drill some type of another hole in the top here to allow, you know, the air to get pulled in as it's pulling out water, so that way we don't do this again. There is a piece of equipment that I'm going to buy and put on here somewhere, and it will also be an anti-siphon, so we don't have to worry about this in the future. I knew about it beforehand, but by the time I thought about it, it was too late to order it and have it shipped in time before we left. But so I knew it was a potential possibility. Honestly, I was really hoping if it filled anything, it was going to be this, because this actually could hold more water. But we can see the false bottom still on the legless lizard cage, and while his substrate is wet looking, there's not an excess amount of water to where we even have any kind of accumulation yet into the false bottom. So, you know, I guess there is that. So it really just went down here to this one, which thankfully this is a Zilla brand open front tank, and they are waterproof. That was one of the reasons why I chose this one when I purchased it, because I knew for certain that it was waterproof. So again, we're going to take this apart. We're going to build this cage first, move this girl into there, and then we're going to do something different here. And then I picked up this one used off of a Facebook page. We're going to get that thing cleaned up and used and placed over here on the rack. I'm going tonight to meet a gentleman to buy some more used caging that will sit up here. We're going to move these plants out of here. That's going to get cleaned and moved out. So we'll have another cage there. That will be a build video, but hopefully by the end of the week we will have this thing full of planted vivariums, or at least the process of starting with the 3D backgrounds, and plant process will maybe take a little bit. And then I'm going to reroute the water, so each cage has its own misting system, misting nozzle. It'll all be on the same system, but each cage will have its own misting nozzle. We will get the anti-siphon unit hooked up, and yeah, so this is going to be a pretty cool looking setup. Once I get done here, you know, I'm back from vacation, I'm rested, I you know, kind of cleared my mind, and I'm ready to jump back into building all these natural vivariums that I've been, you know, contemplating over the last couple weeks. So those videos will be coming up, those will be following this one, and so stay tuned for those, and thanks for watching, and until next time.
Shut up and sit down.